My name is Maria, and I've always felt like the oddball in my family. From birth, my father seemed to view me as a letdown. He had hoped for a son, and when informed by the doctor that I was a girl, the disappointment was apparent in his expression. This initial reaction defined our relationship. My elder sister, Olivia, was the family's darling, intelligent, talented, and faultless in my parents' eyes. Meanwhile, I merely existed in the background. Our house consistently echoed with applause for Olivia's achievements. Olivia got another A on her math test, or, look at the stunning painting Olivia created. My report cards barely elicited a response, and my crayon drawings often ended up discarded. As I matured, I learned self-reliance. I prepared my own meals, took care of my laundry, and did my homework alone. It wasn't the most ideal situation, but it fostered independence and strength within me. A pivotal moment occurred when I was about 14. After returning home from school, hungry, and with no one to make a snack for me, I attempted baking cookies using a recipe from one of Mom's old cookbooks. To my astonishment, they turned out well. The following day at school, my classmate, Deborah, tasted one, her eyes widening as she exclaimed, "Maria, these are amazing. Did your mom make them?" I proudly replied, "No, I did." Swiftly, word spread, and more students requested that I bring additional batches. For the first time in my life, I felt significant. I discovered a skill that made me stand out. When I got home, eagerly, I told my parents, "Mom, Dad, guess what? I made cookies, and everyone at school loved them." Mom barely looked up from her magazine, responding with, "That's nice, dear. Just ensure you clean up the kitchen." Dad frowned, remarking, "Cookies, Maria? You should concentrate on your studies, not waste time in the kitchen." My enthusiasm dipped a bit, but I refused to let their lack of excitement extinguish my newfound passion. As years passed, the divide between Olivia and me expanded. Olivia completed high school with stellar grades and was accepted into a prestigious university. It was as if our parents had won the lottery with the way they celebrated. I was still in high school, managing average, unremarkable grades, but I had my thing. Every weekend, I baked cakes, pies, and cookies, soon attracting neighbors to place orders, forming a small business. One day, Mrs. Frank, our neighbor, tasted my chocolate cake and said, "Maria, honey, this is incredible. You've got real talent." Proudly, I replied, "Thank you. I'm thinking about attending culinary school after graduation." Her eyes brightened. "Oh, that's wonderful. You'd excel." However, sharing my dreams with my parents painted a different picture. My mom's expression fell. "Culinary school? But that's just cooking," she said. Dad's reaction was even harsher. He banged his fist on the table, shouting, "Absolutely not. No daughter of mine will waste her life in a kitchen." "But Dad," I countered, "I'm adept at it and people love my baking." He scoffed. "Good. So you think you can earn a living flipping burgers or decorating cakes? Wake up, Maria. The real world doesn't work that way." Mom added softly, yet dismissively, "Honey, you need to consider your future. Look at Olivia. She's studying finance. She'll have a real career." Their words stung, but I wasn't ready to surrender. I started selling my baked items at school events and to classmates, receiving great feedback. "Maria, these cookies are exceptional," my friend Larry complimented with a mouthful of chocolate chip cookie. "You should open a bakery or something," I smiled, dreaming of having my own shop filled with the aroma of fresh bread and pastries. It felt magical until that dream quickly turned into tension at home. One day, Dad found a flyer for my bake sale. "What's this?" he asked sternly. I stammered, "It's for school. We're raising money for new computers." He glared. "Don't lie to me, Maria. I know you've been selling your treats. This stops now. You need to focus on actual studies, not this hobby." "But Dad, I'm earning good money," I insisted. "Money," he retorted. "You think a few dollars for cookies qualify as money? Do you realize how much your sister makes in her internship? That's real money, a real future." With a quivering lip, I struggled to hold back my tears as I listened to my parents. They sternly informed me that my dabbling in baking had to end. I needed to focus on improving my grades and applying to reputable colleges. Any further mention of cakes or cookies, they warned, would result in losing my college fund and their support. That evening, my culinary dreams shattered. What once seemed possible now felt like a charred cookie. Despite the weight in my heart, the next day found me exploring business colleges. I resolved that someday I would pursue my passion, but for now, I had to abide by their rules. During college, I became immersed in the world of numbers, spreadsheets, and financial reports. Although I tried hard to believe that accounting was the right path, each bakery I passed, or the waft of fresh bread, rekindled my dream's ache. After graduating, I secured a job at a large firm, and my parents couldn't have been prouder. While I enjoyed living independently in my small apartment, the daily grind of numbers drained my spirit. One night I snapped. I pulled out my aged and stained recipe book and baked a batch of cupcakes. At work the next day, the cupcakes were a sensation. "Maria, these are incredible. Where did you buy them?" asked my colleague Brenda. Hesitantly, I confessed that I had made them. Word spread rapidly, and soon, requests for my cakes at birthdays and weddings started coming in. Initially, I completed orders over the weekends, but eventually, baking filled my evenings in the vanilla and chocolate-scented apartment. My chance came when my company's anniversary neared. The director approached me to bake the celebratory cake, mentioning my baking talents. Although it was a significant gamble, the opportunity was too great to pass up. The party day arrived with my grand cake, adorned with the company's emblem and exquisite sugar flowers. The room hushed upon its unveiling, followed by applause and a commendation from the director, who joked about my double talent. When he told me I was wasted in accounting, his words lingered in my thoughts. As more cake orders flowed in, I realized I couldn't juggle both worlds. One sleepless, flour-drenched night, amidst a pile of cake requests, I decided to resign. My supervisor's surprised reaction, "You're one of our best," was met with my calm smile. "I've discovered my true passion," I explained. I took a bold step and leased a small commercial kitchen, diving headfirst into my new venture. The balance of fear and excitement was unrelenting, with long nights fulfilling orders and questioning my choices. Gradually, my bakery flourished. I hired staff and relocated to a larger space, where my confections gained citywide acclaim. Throughout this journey, I concealed the truth from my parents, who still believed I thrived in accounting. While procrastinating on revealing my new career, I feared their reaction. Yet, my business continued to expand, and I took bold steps to highlight my shop. Embracing modern marketing, I created social media accounts to showcase my bakery's creations, carefully avoiding personal exposure in the images. Despite my anxieties, the business thrived. A partnership with a local delivery service broadened our reach, and loyalty programs built customer relationships. A defining moment was Sweet Tooth Saturdays, when we opened the bakery doors monthly with free samples to entice people in. I still remember the first day when my nerves were on edge, worrying if anyone would turn up. I voiced my concerns to Emma, my employee, who simply rolled her eyes and said, "Boss, have you even tasted your own creations? People will be lining up around the block." She was spot on. By noon, there was a long line stretching down the street. Seeing the delight on people's faces after savoring my treats brought me immense joy, separate from any success in the kitchen. Our fame soared quickly. Soon we were catering high-profile events, supplying desserts to upscale restaurants, and even shipping our signature cookies nationwide. The success brought in more money than I had ever imagined possible, especially from baking cookies. My dad's words came to mind as I started earning more than my sister's bank salary. I began supporting my parents financially, pretending it was all thanks to my accounting job. When the roof needed repair, I paid for it, and when they spoke about dreams of visiting Europe, I surprised them with tickets. "Oh, Maria, you shouldn't have," Mom said, eyes gleaming with excitement. Meanwhile, as I was building my business and supporting our parents, Olivia was thriving in her own way. Still living at home, she spent her salary on designer clothes and high-tech gadgets. To my parents, Olivia was still the star. "Did you hear about Olivia's promotion?" Mom would say, beaming. vice president of her department at just 30. I'd force a smile. That's great, Olivia, congrats. I was successfully managing a bakery, employing a dozen people, and thrilling hundreds of customers daily. Yet at home, my achievements felt invisible. One typical day at Sweet Dreams Bakery, I was perfecting a wedding cake when Emma rushed in with an order form. "Boss, you won't believe this," she exclaimed. I cleaned my hands and asked, "What's up?" "We've got a birthday cake order going to your parents' house," she said dramatically. It felt like ice water had been thrown over me. "Are you sure?" I inquired. She handed me the form, and indeed it was my childhood address, my mother's name, with a note for her birthday. Though momentarily breathless, an idea formed in my head. "Emma," I said, calming my racing heart, "clear my schedule. This cake must be a masterpiece." For the next week, I poured everything into the cake. 3 tiers of Mom's favorite flavors adorned with hand-piped flowers and intricate sugar sculptures, the finest cake I had ever crafted. I imagined the moment, seeing my parents wonder at the cake, their pride in learning I created it, and the bliss of revealing my true self. On the party day, I arrived early with a small gift to maintain appearances. The house was lively with relatives I hadn't seen for years. "Maria," Aunt Anna exclaimed, embracing me. "Look at you, all grown up, still crunching numbers?" I nodded, swallowing the usual lie. "Yep, still at it." I eagerly awaited the cake's arrival. The doorbell rang. My mom welcomed our delivery guy with a familiar Sweet Dreams bakery box. "Special delivery for the birthday girl," he announced cheerfully. The room hushed as Mom placed the box on the table, lifting the lid to a chorus of gasps and murmurs of admiration for the stunning cake. I stood there, heart pounding, waiting for the perfect moment to speak. But before I could, Dad cleared his throat, speaking solemnly. "Before we celebrate, there's something we need to address." The chatter ceased as everyone focused on my parents, their faces clouded with what appeared to be disdain. "We've recently uncovered a secret," Mom stated, her tone icy. "A secret kept from us." The tension was suffocating. "Can you believe it?" Dad resumed, eyes scanning the room, then fixated on me. "Our Maria has been deceiving us. She's not an accountant. She's a pastry chef." He uttered the words as if they were the ultimate betrayal. I attempted to articulate my side, but words failed me, disbelief engulfing me. Dad's face flushed with fury. "We always envisioned our daughters would." Reality of true success can truly shape one's perception of societal respect. He gestured towards Olivia, saying, "Look at your sister, vice president at her age. It's a remarkable achievement." Olivia seemed uneasy, avoiding my gaze. But then my mother turned her attention to me with a piercing stare. "We've given you everything, every opportunity, and this is what you do? Become the mere cook?" The word mere cut deeper than I could have imagined. Couldn't they see what I'd created, the effort and dedication I had poured into my craft? Out of nowhere, my father approached the table where my beloved cake sat, and in an instant, he flipped the box. I watched, stunned, as my meticulously crafted masterpiece toppled to the ground, reduced to a mess of icing and sponge, as shocked whispers filled the room. "We're not consuming this," Dad declared with disdain. "It's beneath us." Mom nodded in silent agreement. "Maria," he continued, "you've shown you're unfit for respectable company. This defiance is your last." His final words were a brutal blow. "We're disowning you. You're not our daughter anymore." A cold dread overwhelmed me, rendering me breathless. Was this a nightmare? The room, once alive with celebration, turned cold and unfriendly. Even Aunt Anna, who had previously embraced me, now leaned towards Uncle Adam and whispered. I could always tell she was trouble, her sentiment echoed by nodding guests. My mother's voice cut through the icy tension. "Leave now, and don't reach out to us again." I stood paralyzed, tears cascading, grappling with their merciless rejection of everything I was and had achieved. "Didn't you hear your mother?" my father barked. "Get out." Somehow, I managed to move. I turned towards the exit, tears blurring my sight. As I grasped the door handle, Olivia's voice, meek and tentative, broke the silence. "Mom, Dad, maybe we should." Her words were severed as the door closed behind me. I descended the front steps, familiar in my childhood, yet foreign and indifferent now. Once inside my car, I succumbed to the sobs, fragments of what was my family scattered around me. The dream that my parents might one day accept and respect me collapsed, much like my K-cat. As the setting sun cast long shadows across the neighborhood of my youth, clarity emerged. I could never return. The days ticked by in a haze following that birthday. I moved like a ghost, barely eating or sleeping. The bakery thrived thanks to my diligent team, but I was merely going through the motions. Gradually, as the shock eased, I immersed myself in my work with renewed vigor. If my family couldn't value my passion, I was determined to prove to the world just how excellent an ordinary cook could be. The bakery flourished, expanding to a second location, then a third. Media coverage, TV interviews, and even a cookbook deal followed. Success came in waves, and I surfed each with tenacity. I secured a beautiful apartment, a personal sanctuary in the city. 3 years after the rupture with my family, I met Tyler. Kind-hearted and supportive, he adored my cakes. When he proposed a year later, I accepted without hesitation. Our wedding was intimate and perfect. Witnessing the beaming faces of my friends and the family I had built for myself, I knew I didn't miss my blood relatives. My friends, colleagues, and husband were my family now. Life settled into a joyful routine. The bakery prospered, and Tyler and I nurtured a fulfilling life together. I had everything I ever dreamed of, save for perhaps closure. That changed one Friday afternoon. Years post that fateful birthday party, seated in my office, reviewing proposals for our new bakery location, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. Compelled to answer, my voice was steady. "Hello." On the line was my mother, her voice tentative yet clear. "Maria, please don't hang up. We need to talk." Her words were followed by a deluge of revelations. Olivia's bank lost its license, leading to significant layoffs, leaving her unemployed for months. They needed assistance. Before I could fully process, my father's voice interrupted, commanding, "You need to employ Olivia at your bakery." The absurdity hit me profoundly after 4 years of silence, realizing the reason they were reaching out. A cold laugh escaped me as I processed the situation. "Let me clarify," I said. "You cast me out and now expect me to hand over my business to Olivia?" My father boomed. "We gave you life and raised you. You owe us." Something inside me snapped, unleashing years of suppressed pain and anger. "I owe you nothing," I replied calmly yet firmly. "You disowned me 4 years ago, remember? I'm just an ordinary cook beneath you. I will neither assist you nor Olivia. Goodbye." I hung up, my hand trembling slightly. As I sat absorbing it all, a smile crept onto my face. I felt a sudden lightness, as if a weight I wasn't aware I was carrying had suddenly lifted. I owed them nothing. I was free. Just as I thought my family saga had concluded, life took another unexpected turn. One quiet Monday afternoon, my phone showed a number I hadn't seen in years, Olivia's. Curious and nervous, I answered. "Hello," I said. "Maria." Olivia's voice was gentle and tentative. "I hope it's okay that I'm calling." I took a deep breath. "It's okay, Olivia. What's happening?" What unfolded next was a life-changing conversation. Olivia apologized repeatedly for our parents' treatment of me, both now and 4 years earlier. "I had no idea they approached you asking for a job," she said emotionally. "I would never have requested that. I'm so sorry, Maria." I felt a knot within me begin to unwind. "Thank you, Olivia. That means a lot." She explained that losing her job was a wake-up call, realizing she was living someone else's dream. Banking and finance were never her aspirations. It was always Mom and Dad's vision. I listened intently as my sister shared her heartfelt admissions. "Seeing you pursue your passion and build this incredible business inspired me, Maria," she expressed. "I've decided to reshape my life and have enrolled in courses on interior design. I want to create beautiful spaces and stay true to myself, just like you've done." Tears welled up in my eyes. I had always believed Olivia lived the perfect life, unaware that she too struggled. "That's wonderful, Olivia," I managed to say. "I'm happy for you." There was a pause before Olivia spoke again, her voice brimming with emotion. "I'm proud of you, Maria. You stood up for yourself, followed your dreams, and now you're living the life you've always desired. That's nothing short of amazing." Unable to hold back any longer, tears of pent-up emotions, hurt, anger, and longing for my sister, flowed freely. We conversed for hours, catching up on lost time, sharing our hopes and fears. As the discussion wound down, Olivia tentatively suggested, maybe we could meet up sometime, just to talk and support each other? Despite her not being able to see, I nodded affirmatively. "I'd like that, Olivia. I'd like that a lot." Over the following months, Olivia and I met regularly, sharing coffee and pastries from my bakery, of course. We laughed over old memories and supported each other through the ups and downs of our careers. Olivia's interior design venture was flourishing, and I couldn't have been prouder. As for our parents, we heard through the grapevine that they had also disowned Olivia upon quitting banking. They lamented to any who would listen that their daughters had disappointed them, one a simple cook, the other a frivolous decorator. But Olivia and I knew the truth. We were living our dreams, building successful careers, doing what we loved. We had paved our own paths to happiness. One day, during one of our weekly meetings at my bakery, Olivia looked at the bustling shop and then at me with a grin. "You know," she remarked, "we turned out pretty great, all things considered." I laughed, feeling a warmth in my chest unrelated to the ovens. "Yeah," I agreed. "I think we did." As I observed my sister sketching design ideas on a napkin, surrounded by the sweet scent of pastries and the lively chatter of delighted customers, I felt a profound sense of contentment. This was my life, messy and challenging, but sweet. I had fought for my dreams, suffered losses and some battles, but ultimately, I had won the war.